Okay. All right, everybody. Welcome and welcome back to the Mythlanders Season 2, Goblin Stone Episode 7, wherein the party is still divided, is still split, although X and Millie and Helena are still exploring some of the wisdom and power of Bridget's flame, while Lokag and Cliff have finally managed to get away from their captors, thanks perhaps to the violent intervention of another strange creature calling itself Merlun, sounding like... Say again?
Thank you, violent creature.
Absolutely. So yeah, we will be starting off this session again down in the deeps beneath the stone. So we appreciate you all being here, and I hope you all enjoyed this session. Of course, we'll have a break, and just sort of toward the end of the session, a little bit of time for me to catch up on chat. So, without further ado, let's step into it. So, last session, as I said, we ended off with Clifford and Lokag diving heroically and very, very bravely away from a fight and into filth and ooze-ridden waters below. And I think that is going to be the perfect place to start back out our session. Let me update our maps and get us all back in a view where we can all see what we need to see. Double check the stream view really quick and give everybody a map to see on stream. Gotta zoom out a little bit. Okay, so I went ahead and hid the cliffs above because you can't really see what's going on up there. But you can still see the growing pink and green light sort of roiling out from Merlun. Let's see here. Yeah. Often at the top of the session, at least when I'm doing my average session, we'll do a table check-in at the top at the beginning of the session, ask everybody for their own recap and what they remember. But on stream, we're kind of rolling that back a little bit, just to... We don't want to bore you guys and girls and non-binary friends. All right, now I'm tinkering with the music. My devices are arguing with my fingertips. All right. All right. So with the turn order box open, the two of you can go ahead and highlight your tokens and roll initiative. All right. Another little technical thing in the background. I'm going to adjust really quick. Bear with me just briefly.
Look, this water tastes terrible.
Why are you drinking that?
Don't drink it. You gotta watch out. There's slime. It's like they have mucus they secrete. Drinking slime mucus, buddy.
Ugh. I mean, it's not the worst drink I've had, but it's close.
Lokag, the slime drinker.
So you all are coughing and spurting out this conversation as you drop down into the water, you break the surface of it. There's some footing below, but it's rock, and it's chunks of rock. So the rocks will tumble over, so you're, really try not to get your feet wedged in between some rocks as you move, but you know that there's above you armed warriors with crossbows. So at the top of the order is Lokag. You know that they were sort of starting to react, at least one of them. It's not unlikely that a couple of shots, one or two shots, might come your way very soon. So what does Lokag do?
Lokag turns to Cliff. Cliff the person, not Cliff what we just jumped off. And he says, all right, where now? This is your plan. You lead. Back into the cave or to that great giant light in the distance. Where are we going?
Right now, we're gonna go underwater. Get it? I just have a question for the GM about it. There is a dead hobgoblin right next to us. 2 dead hobgoblins.
Yes.
They got anything useful on them?
Oh, yes. They have
Sticking out of their pocket?
chainmail. Well, you don't see any of that, and they're covered in, now in slimy water, and there are many wounds that they took, both from you and their fall down here. So in the dark, near dark, very, very dim light, it's hard to tell. You can go ahead and make an investigation check and see what you might pick up. You can hear, though, if you do that, you will be maybe at risk. You can hear the scraping of hobgoblin boots above you as they near the edge of the cliff.
What I'm thinking is if we can get how far we can go now in a turn, conceivably could we get to here into the water and get out of sight under cover so they can't shoot at us, so we have full cover. If that's not the case, can we go this way, and stay underwater, just dive, and just be like...
Yes to both questions.
The
you'd be...
the cave that we came out of is right there too. Sorry.
True. Very true.
Where's that?
Right here. That's where we first entered the tower, so we could run back into the cave.
Yeah, that's wild. We could. I feel like I'm worried about our friends, though.
I don't think he was suggesting running away entirely, just getting some cover.
Yeah, just to pull back into there and recover, but... yeah, it's tempting. I kind of might follow your lead. My thing is, maybe we can hop over into here, make a quick run over there, jump into the water where they can't see us, and then next turn, do another hop and get over here, and work our way north, and then we can get into the deep water if it's safe. That's what I was thinking, in terms of avoiding range attacks.
All right, so yeah, Cliff probably quickly just points. I was thinking this way or that way.
But I'll let you lead it. You make the move, and I'm pointing to go into that next pool there. I assume it's deep enough that we can kind of...
Yeah, right around here near the edges, it's, maximum 5 feet deep, where you're at. So you kind of splashed in and you hit the rocks below a little bit hard.
Same above too, right? We go up into this little area above us.
So it's again, it's sort of hard to tell. You guys can both make survival checks. Lokak, you can make that with advantage due to your upbringing.
Why don't you lead, Lokak? I say, if you want to go for a swim and go east or go west, or if you want to go up, I'm going to follow you. How about that?
So Lokak, you're... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Please.
I say, oh, well, actually, I guess I do need to know the results of that survival check before I move on with this statement.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, you're pretty sure that due to the rock pile, any pools around there are going to be very, very shallow, and you don't think you'll be able to break line of sight if you go north and drop in that little pool. If you all make it all the way across to the other side, then maybe, but you might be kind of thinking your best bet would be to just, bite the bullet, suck in a lung full of breath, and dive underwater and try to swim through the filthy water westward.
All right, yeah. Who's shallow over there, close to shore? We go this way, a point towards the west.
And I'll be right behind you, or I'll lead the way either way you want.
Lokag will take a deep breath, and then I guess see. I guess can I make athletics check to see how far I get swimming?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Ordinarily, it'd be half your movement, but that's a good athletics check. I will absolutely. Yeah, that's a very good check. I would say you could move your full movement this round.
Excellent. Lokag will start out by swimming. He's going to just kind of kick off the rocks there and plunge into the water. But graceful like a whale.
Some whales are actually pretty damn graceful. So perfect. You do find the bottom pretty easily. So your swim, if you go down a little too far, you're grabbing along the rocks and pulling yourself along. It is pitch black. Even with taking a deep breath and holding your nose, there's still this filthy water is kind of coming up your sinuses a little bit. You're trying to angle your face just right so that the air bubble kind of keeps some of that water out of your sinuses. All right, so as you just swim 30 feet westward, or do you sort of circle toward the north, or what do you do?
Yeah, I'll just swim straight westward.
Okay.
Yep, trying to get out of the rocks. I moved him 30 feet that way.
Okay. I'm not going to update the lighting just yet because it's extremely, extremely dim light for you.
Yeah.
All right. What about Clifford?
I'm gonna follow directly behind him. I don't want to lose him.
Mm-hmm.
So I can make rolls.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My athletics is okay. Why is it rolling twice? Advantage?
Sometimes beyond 20 just kind of glitches out a little bit.
Weird.
You got 3 different
But
platforms, you know.
Either way, it's terrible.
That's okay. All that check was for was to see if you went more than half your movement.
Yeah.
In which
So
case,
he's
in
just
this
gonna
case, you
move
don't.
half speed. I would like to just do a quick roll as he swims by the corpse of this hobgoblin and see if there's anything interesting on him, an object interaction or something.
Okay.
Perception or?
Well, it would need to be an investigation check.
All right. My
Given
investigation
the
is
environment. So yeah. Nice. Okay. You find the figure's heavy crossbow. You find its long sword still in the sheath. Its shield is floating nearby. The metal edge not heavy enough to draw it down. And you do find a pouch that would hang like just above like in the small of their back. A large-ish pouch. You don't know what's in it, but you could unbuckle the sword belt and grab the sword and the pouch if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'll grab it. I'll grab the pouch. Since I got my sack, I should have like my stuff.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think I'm good on that. He's just gonna grab the pouch and keep moving with the rest of his movement.
Okay. So yeah, just 15. That would have been an action. Well,
Is it an
yeah, I would say a
action?
bonus action. No, you can go ahead and you can dash and keep up with him. That's fine.
Okay. Well, I think he needs to move quicker than me, but I'll try to keep up with him.
Yeah, I think just behind him.
Stealth
Right?
check? Do we have to make a hide, or are we just? I'm trying to stay in cover.
Yeah. You're underneath water, and just as you're pushing off, diving into the water, you hear the snap of not one but 2 crossbows, and you hear one hitting the water while you're above water, and you hear the other one sort of through the water while you're dived underneath. After that, you have no idea what's happening. There might be other bolts raining in the water. It's impossible to tell. It's completely pitch black. You're feeling along. You're swimming along. You feel Lokag's boot, and that gets you to. You can kind of feel the water churning around him too. So that's kind of operating entirely by feel.
Yeah, and I have the blind sight that'll help me kind of keep track of them. So wherever.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you can go ahead and both make perception checks.
All right. 13 either way. I don't like it.
16 for Lokag.
Nice. Perhaps Lokag is more familiar with the sound of arrows punching through the watery surface that you're swimming through. There might be stories there that you can unpack for Cliff later. But you definitely can hear that you think the hobgoblins are still firing at you from above. Though it sounds like it's receding, like they're still firing in the same area, and maybe they don't know exactly where you've gone. Though they do have dark vision, you're certain that people with dark vision are still hampered by a lack of light. But perhaps you're not. Actually, yeah, you would know, having again been raised up in the mountains. You've dealt with kobolds and other creatures with dark vision before. as well as dwarves. People traded with them fairly regularly, and orcs as well. So, you all swim beneath the murky water? You keep swimming west, or how far do you swim before you come up for air?
I think we come up for air behind this rock. That's what I'd be aiming for.
Would we be? I mean, I don't know that we'd be able to tell where we were going, right?
Well, you've got a pretty good survival check, and he's got blind sense. So you can feel, you're feeling along the rocks, and you can feel that you've reached some of the large, big rocks that, sort of out of that miniature bay, so to speak.
Okay.
And you've got an idea.
I think Lokag would try and circle north and head for that big rock. Maybe haven't surveyed beforehand.
So as long as you're underwater, we're in exploration mode. So you all can go ahead and continue to move.
We'll go here.
Let's do some let's do some math though, real quick.
Do a little stealth roll and then try to pop up there. So behind the cover.
So that is 45 feet.
Okay. So let's see here. And let's see here. Okay. Cliff, what's your constitution? I don't have it up right in front of me at the moment.
It's +2.
Okay.
My save? Or my con save?
Yeah, just the constitution itself, yeah.
Yeah, 14.
Okay, yeah. So you're just, got up toward the ceiling of how long you like to hold your breath. You're not exactly sputtering. Lokag, I'm imagining you think you're at 16, right? Or is it just 15?
Just 15.
Okay, yeah. So you all are both, that was a good time to come out of the water, but you feel like you maybe could stretch it a little further if you needed to. As you look up, you can definitely see hobgoblins up on the side. 3 of them, in fact. The light is still growing. There's a thunderous, it almost sounds like thunder and rain, or like 1,000 ball bearings being dropped from a great height and bouncing up and down on the stone floor. You hear a deep, like from the belly, scream from one of the hobgoblins. You can both make insight checks. Clifford, you know abject terror. You know the sound of fear being ripped from someone's throat. One of the hobgoblins, and it corresponded with another surge in that purple and pink light. You can all barely make out the other hobgoblins darting westward, immediately ceasing to aim, darting out of sight as that fitful purple and pink light continues to grow outward.
Cliff is terrified and protectively looks down, points down below him into the water, and signals to follow me. And he's gonna dive again and try to go to the next place. I'd like to try to get as far as we can to some cover. I'm not sure what there is to the west or to the east that he sees. It looks like he goes even deeper to the east or to the north, kind of.
To the north, it gets a little bit deeper. There's also, it seems to be a little bit less scum on the surface out there, so you might just be seeing the color of the water itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lighter greens and yellows are patches of scum and such floating on the surface. And you can see
I'm used to scum, so I think I want to try to stay near it. Use the scum as cover.
Fair enough. So that seems to continue a bit northward. What are Lokag's thoughts?
Lokag likes bright lights and definitely thinks we should swim towards the tower. It's like a beacon calling him home.
Yeah, I say we just go straight north now and dive. We'll kind of go underwater, for a little bit. I'm not sure how far we can get before we have to pop up again. But by then, I think hopefully we'll have cover of the tower. So we'll try to find our way there. And I think Cliff's going to go deep and just, as he's swimming through there, look around and see if there's any, he's a bounty hunter for a reason because he needs the money. And oftentimes on his travels, he'll find stuff. So who knows what if he had a metal detector, he'd be that guy on the beach with a metal detector trying to find stuff. So yeah, as they swim that way, he'll kind of look around.
Okay.
And Lokag will follow. He feels strangely uncomfortable, as if someone rolled 2 mystery D4s.
I know. As if something called out through the force.
What dice? What D4s? I don't see any D4s.
What's
Right.
a tetrahedron?
So as you all are swimming along, you can see some like sort of dim shapes. That's not right. Goodness. You can see some dark shapes. You can see that there's a large column or pillar in the center of this swampy area. So I'll go ahead and reveal. You can't necessarily see what's all around everything, but I'll go ahead and reveal at least this. Where's my tools? It's definitely rough and oh, I see what you did there. I'm taking away your inspiration for the session, Cliff. I'm sorry.
Get one. Come on.
Now you see something just to the north of you, maybe about 30 feet between you all and the tower. You also spot something to the west, to the south of that large pillar. Bring us back over to it. Well, you need to make perception checks, and you're going to have to make those with disadvantage, because it's dim light down here.
Alright, well, it's going to always roll 2 dice, so 12.
Okay.
I don't see what you're talking about.
Well, so I'll go ahead and put some circles on the map just to show where you've seen what you've seen. So in this area, let me go ahead and ping the map. There seem to be 2 large-ish objects, sort of less than 5 by 5, floating in the water, and there seems to be something large and roughly block-shaped, but maybe not a consistent, or something perhaps made of a less rigid structure, perhaps mud or some sort of liquid, but it's roughly the shape of a block. It seems to be floating through the water toward these 2 shapes. And let's see here. To the north, since you're close enough and it's not trying to hide, there's a bit of scum that has broken apart and seems to be moving toward you. It's not moving extremely fast, but this is about where you notice it.
Cliff's going to try to tug him over to go west. Maybe avoid this thing and check out this object he noticed.
Lokag will go with him.
Be like, he kind of tugs at him. He points, shows him the scum. Scum and villainy, but he can't hear him because we're underwater. We'll work on that. But we'll stay deep. We'll go deep and try to get to this object of interest. Unless there's like shit moving around on it or something, I'm going to be mindful of that.
Yeah, so you crest the water occasionally. And again, that rough squarish or block-like shape. Let me go ahead and reveal a bit more. Sorry, something's going horribly wrong here on my end. Ah, there it is. Okay. So as you get closer, it becomes pretty not clear what everything is, but it's clear that there's two bodies floating in the water.
Oh shit.
And the large block-like thing seems to have moved up and is surrounding or absorbing one of them. You can see bubbles start to rise from the surface of what looks like a young human. Oh, you might... let's see here. Did Clifford know Dale?
I don't know. He would have known people in town if they were shopkeepers, if there were connections, he would have, he's kind of an investigator, so.
Alright. Big Bry, Locag, do you think Dale would have known Clifford or vice versa?
I think that might be Dale. He played instruments, music, in the bar sometimes.
Yeah, you recognize the hat that he wore often, as it slowly dissolves inside the cube of...
Oh, gee. I think we gotta get the hell away from here. I don't think it's safe. I mean, as soon as he sees that, he's gonna work his way north around to the rocks. I don't think he's gonna mess with it. It's good to know this is here, but...
You all have both heard of gelatinous cubes. You might suspect that that's what this is.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that things moving is not what he wants to experience. So I think we got to work our way north along the coastline.
Let's go while it's busy heating.
Yeah, and he'll keep 10 feet away from the coastline, and he'll kind of be able to know where he is, and try to avoid the scum, and find a spot where we have cover where we can kind of breathe, and hopefully they won't see us.
All right.
Yeah, Lokag will follow him up. Although Lokag, at this point, when he gets to this rock outcropping here, will probably get up out of the water and sit down for just a second.
Yeah, but my only concern is that the hobgoblins might see us. I don't know if they can see that far. Probably not, right? Their range is only 60.
It's very dim light, yeah. So, yeah, you all managed to swim over to the cliff. The cube does not follow you. Let's see here. And I think, yeah, you also probably got a look at this Oscar figure. You all likely would have seen him being paraded around with Hardycart and Hester Dulac and Uma and all of these famous heroes that went into the stone.
Well, that was the chosen one there. That's the first thing.
That kid was massively annoying.
I know. I mean, you can see what they chose him for. Doesn't look pretty. I, for one, would rather not be chosen in this situation.
He was chosen to be our distraction.
Well, that damn thing. I mean, and I don't know what that scum is over there. And he kind of looks over at the moving, like, mildewy stuff on the surface. I'm not in my element here. All right, I'm glad you know what you're doing here. You can breathe underwater. You can swim so good.
Yes.
I'm a city guy. All right, I shoot things from far away. I don't struggle for my life to escape them. All right, this is not the plan.
So
there was a plan?
Usually there's a plan. That's the problem. There's no goddamn plan. He looks over at the tower, but I bet our friends, I bet they went there.
this is the first moment you all have had to take a breather. You're both covered in slime. Your wounds are burning from whatever was in the water, plus your own sweat and the wounds themselves. You're winded and worn. But this is it's a strange place. It's massive. It seems ancient. The rocks that you sit on are smooth, as if many hands and feet have trod or climbed upon them. You notice that the patch of ooze that you avoided is following in your wake and might soon be feasting on the remains of the Chosen One. But it's also possible that it'll continue to follow your wake. Go ahead and make perception checks. Because you also, there's like warm, holy light. The light that shines out from these triquetra at the top of the tower soothe you. They sort of, they make the distance from you to the tower look smaller. And everything, every line and angle on the building looks safe and inviting. But the sounds coming from it are not. From the windows at the middle floor and the front doors, just open just a bit, you can hear the cackling and shouting of a few goblins. Looking to the north, at first your view is dominated by this holy tower, glowing out in golden color, a warm and sacred light in a profane and filthy place, a place that has come to crush the city. And this tower still stands. So after sort of taking that in, you all sort of look to the north because you can hear other sounds and you see other lights. It is distant, but to the north of you, out in these areas that aren't really open up on the map yet, I'll go ahead and actually reveal a bit, because you can see torches on the water, a long line of them, leaving the tower itself. If you had to count, it's 15 torches, but the sounds of the people moving through water tell you all that it's at least 20, 25. You could definitely hear some of their voices are hobgoblins now that you're used to the tenor of their voice. And then there's a deep sort of ragged bass voices that you can also hear out there on the water. So it sounds like a mixed group that's leaving the tower. One of them has a torch, like a torch on a long staff. There's things dangling and hanging from it. It's like perhaps a battle standard, but it has a large, like a closed brazier at the top. It almost looks like some sort of ritual procession. But there's still goblins inside, at least a few, arguing, still breaking what there is left to break. So as you all pause and think of your next move, I think we'll step over to X and Millie and Helena, if that sounds all right.
All right. Perfect.
All right, so I'm back in the tower with Helena having just stepped out to the balcony, being pulled back in, or told by X to, watch your visibility out there. And once, you kind of said this, she comes back, and she comes up and in an irritated whisper says, "I think we have unwanted company outside," or something along those lines. She has a distasteful sort of look on her face.
You have the look that says oozes.
I'm sure there are some. They do love the sewer water, but no. More goblins, I think.
Are they coming this way or heading out?
Looked like some of them were leaving the tower. A train of them. Torches. They seem to have objects wrapped up in thick cloth and bundled up on their shoulders or carried on like stretchers between them. Looks like they looted the Ogmus Tower. Ogmus Tower. I never could pronounce the name, she says.
I never really noted. think I've heard some things about what's in here. Not.
X, do you offer any information or say anything?
I think X would be King A. Is there a way that we can kill them all? Because we got to balance these scales.
Mm-hmm.
And B, like, if there's anything good in the tower that they're taking, it feels pretty unfair, and I want to get it back. But there's also wisdom is the better part of valor, so attacking in a fight that you can't win also not a great idea. So he's just weighing the options of, like, the right thing to do is to stop them and stop them taking whatever they're taking, but just don't think we have the power to do it.
Well, if there's anything important, it looks like they've already taken it, says Helena, dismissively.
We'll get it back.
It's probably valuable.
Maybe they missed things.
Well, X, I imagine, you definitely knew of a few things that were hidden, at least on the second floor in the dormitory. At the very least, those things might still be there.
You think we should take a rest, and perhaps head downstairs? I know I could use a little bit of recuperation.
Look for that barbarian.
Why do you talk so weird? Says Helena. She just shakes her head, doesn't give you a chance to answer, and moves on. Could rest in here. I'm not as excited as you to go mucking about fighting goblins. But if that's what we're doing...
You have the least amount of holes in you, though.
Well, that's because I learned from the most clever survivors. She grins. Looks around, waiting for one of you to ask what or who. The rats, she says.
I know, the rats. That's a good... This makes sense. Lots of them, and they're, well, good at hiding. Look for the barbarian and assume the other one. I don't know what's...
Clifford? She says.
Yeah.
They're both dead, she says, waves her hand dismissively. It's too bad.
Probably the case.
Lokag was my best customer.
I mean, they might be meats for the masters. Goblins. That men saying? Perhaps they're near some cooking pot.
I can't say I like the sound of that. Well, one of you mentioned a rest. Go ahead.
X would like to crawl out to the edge, stay low, don't get highlighted in the flame, but kind of crawl out to the edge and look over to where the combat was being fought. See if I can see any hobgoblins over in that area traipsing away, or what I see.
You see in the dark, smudged gray or red stone caverns above the swampy water, in that area where you all escaped the hobgoblins, you just see a storm of bright pink and green, so sharp and bright in color that it hurts your eyes. And what sounds like rain or someone dropping a bunch of marbles You see some movement inside it as you squint, trying to make it out through the distance and the storm of light around the figure. It looks like a large armored figure, maybe 9 feet tall, is holding something up and seems to be choking the life out of something. You hope it's a hobgoblin, but it's hard to tell from here. You can make a perception check, and if it's really high, you might get some more information.
I'm pretty good at those.
Mm-hmm.
Got
That's
some
true.
chances.
Yeah, you do. All right, 18. Heck yeah. But you can see it's covered in chainmail. And you can see, make out the orange tone to its skin in between the flickering of pink and green. Looks like a hobgoblin. It doesn't look like one of your friends. You see a couple of corpses, laying on the edge of the cliff. But again, you don't think they're any of your allies. You can catch some hobgoblins sort of off to your right, running away back toward where they came from, running away from the storm of light and color. But you don't see them. As you look around, you actually spot them. So give me just a moment as I bring... You kind of, as you said, being stealthy, trying to maybe move on your belly or really low. You creep up toward the balcony. You're sort of right up toward the edge, the stone balustrade above you, the rondels. You're sort of peering in between them, and sort of moving back and forth. And just as you're giving up, and your eyes sort of just casually scan the area as you pull them back into the interior, you spot Cliff and Lokag sitting on a cliff about 10 feet above the fetid water. They are sort of like half collapsed back up against the stone, but they don't look so like you can tell that they're taking a load off after a lot of effort. But something about their posture just it seems as if, I don't know, perhaps the two men have been in a situation like this before. They seem comfortable enough. Perhaps it almost suggests that they've been in a situation like this together before, which you don't think is the case. They're a lot closer than you expected. You can also hear, now that you come up closer toward the balcony, you can hear echoing from below what sounds like the squabbling of goblins. And this would be normal-sized goblins, at least you think. Their voices are very sort of savage and very loud, and but beyond that, it sounds just like the other goblins that you've dealt with so far, or denizens of the stone. Perhaps some of the goblins hid while the rest of the party was leaving with the loot, hiding back to seek out anything else that might have been lost. So, as you think over it, and Helena kind of comes up on her belly, sort of sliding up next to you, asking you what you see, and whispering the information back over to Millie. It seems like, your allies are close, but it sounds like there's 2 floors that have goblins on them standing between the two of you. Unless you can devise some way to pluck them from the cliff and draw them through the air towards you. You might have to either wait these goblins out or go and deal with them. Do you try to get Clifford and Lokag's attention? They seem to be sort of looking at the tower or the cliffs, occasionally gazing around the place, talking. You can read a few their lips here and there, but they're also turning away from each other, wiping scum or slime or blood or sweat off their features.
Just give me 1 minute, alright? Catch my breath.
How tall is this tower?
The tower that you're in, let's see here,
Yeah.
is 60 feet. It goes up and over
Nice.
the edge of the cliff. So the top of the tower is 60 feet.
Does anyone have rope?
Lovely coil.
Yeah, it was free.
Our friends did survive. I can see them.
You have really good eyes.
It helps that there's light shining out from the tower, bathing this whole side of this stone pillar.
So what X wants to do, I want to tie 2 ropes together,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to lower a rope down. The part that I'm going to lower down, I'm going to tie like a big knot right on the end of it, so that when it gets to the water, I can kind of bob it up and down and make some splashy noises.
Okay.
Maybe that's a subtle way to get their attention that won't attract gobos.
All right. Let's see here. Yeah. With the perception checks that they had on their last turn, you all are pretty perceptive. You spot the rope as it's appearing. It's like you see a big knot of rope start to drop down, being lowered from the top floor balcony. You don't see who's doing it at first, but once it gets down to the water, they start pulling it up and down, making little splashing sounds. And then you can see resolving, just coming out enough onto the balcony that some of the light from the tower top plays over his features. He can kind of turn his head up toward the light, and you can see X's profile.
Look, someone is fishing.
Come on, this is our chance, man. Gonna go for it.
Okay.
Gonna dive on out and get to that rope.
All right.
I assume it's clear. Try to be stealthy.
All right.
Stay underwater.
I'd like you both to go ahead and highlight your tokens and roll initiative one more time.
Oh boy.
All right. As you dive in, you dive down into the water. As you come up, you can see movement on both sides of you. Patches of slime breaking free and drifting pretty swiftly towards you. You barely, Lokag, you being the one just behind, they are closing in pretty rapidly. If you hadn't jumped out, if you had climbed down and swam the whole way, they would have caught you. So you get up onto and toward the rope. Clifford, you can go ahead and either make an athletics check or yank it and try and get X to pull you up. But if you do that, you're going to leave Lokag
Yeah, no,
out
I'll
to
try
dry.
athletics.
Okay.
Is there a way for me to kind of get up on like there's kind of a shelf on the lower level that I can wait on and let Lokag go first so I don't slow him down?
Well, so there's like it's kind of a large plaza top. There were stairs that came up to this is the entrance to the front of the tower. So this is solid. There's
Let
and
me
there's
stand
window
there.
casements and stuff. Yeah.
I'm gonna stand there and take a moment and cover Lokag as he's coming up.
Okay.
And just to give him a chance to go ahead, and then I'll follow.
All right. Lokag, you are free to make your check or do anything else that you wanted to do.
Cool. Lokag, you know what? Lokag is going to go ahead and start trying to climb up the rope, or he's going to give it a tug, maybe see if they're ready for him to climb. Didn't know if it needed to be tied down or anything.
Well, if you tug it, you'll find out.
Yeah. that's how you test it. So yeah.
I guess-
Balcony.
I guess he will just start climbing up then.
Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming X, you've either got it tied or you've got it sort of coiled around yourself or something like that. And that's a success. You move up the rope pretty swiftly, although it's still going to take you a couple of turns to get up there. So with him still on the rope, do you wait for Lokag to be off the rope, Clifford, or do you go ahead and jump on the rope?
I'll wait for him to be off the rope, and then he's gonna tug and say, "Pull me up!"
Okay.
And let Lokag pull him up.
In which case, so Lokag, you're up the rope.
Okay. So
Go
I
ahead
get up
and
to
put
the top.
these things onto the map. No, you're still halfway up. It's
Okay.
yeah, because you're going like 50 feet up.
I don't have a
Um,
short sword ready.
Gotcha.
I'm really trying to cover the exit. Make sure he's all right.
Right.
Kind of my game.
How much like room to where we're pulling them is there?
So it's
Or is
a
it like a narrow.
yeah. The balcony's like 25 by 10, or about like 7 by like 25. So pretty decent area that they'll have to climb up over the rail to get in.
Yeah, I feel like if there was activity going on up there, Billy would have moved out that direction just to see. Doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you can see what X is doing. And you can see the rope go taut and look down. You can see Lokag about halfway up. And you can see Cliff as 2 oozes are slipping in. So you all can go ahead and roll initiative.
Do you want us to redo ours?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to see where they're at before the oozes make their move. So yeah, that would be an initiative for X and initiative for Millie. And I'll go ahead and roll an initiative for Helena, who's not exactly paying attention right now.
Priorities.
It's been a big day for Helena.
She's got the highest initiative, though.
She's on it.
So yeah, she's moved over. I guess then, yeah, she had kind of slipped over. I guess she pulls out a bow and an arrow and is just readying some attack. Because she can see the oozes. I knew it, she says. Sort of saliva, a little bit of saliva flying out as she, with her words, you can sort of feel the hatred. And what about X? What does X do? Or you lowered the rope down. Did you tie it off, or are you bracing the rope?
My intent was to tie it off, but if they
Perfect.
grabbed it as it was coming down, then I'm kind of stuck.
Okay. Well, you could attempt to. I mean,
I suppose I could have tied it off first, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
sure.
It's 100 foot of rope. Well, let's say 90 foot of 250s tied together is probably like 90 feet. So
Yeah.
I could have tied it off almost anywhere.
Totally. So I'm assuming it's tied. So what else would you do with your turn?
Sure. Railing.
There is.
I think if X thought enemies were coming, he would just shoot them.
Okay. Then you could go ahead and make an attack, and so will Helena, because that is precisely what they are doing. Or I mean, so can I'm sorry, yeah, so can Millie and Helena. Or what does Millie do then on her turn?
Perfect. Yeah, Millie will do something similar and just I'll look over, seeing any threats to them. Shoot down at it with the crossbow.
And for Clifford, you would stepped aside and you're waiting. I'm assuming you had a ready action to climb as soon as you can, but you knew it was going to be another round. So, what would Clifford be ready to do in this situation? But for X and for Helena, you go ahead and make those. For X and Millie, you go ahead and make those attacks, and I will make that short bow attack for Helena. She's definitely going to mark that as her favored. Goodness, and
You.
no, go ahead. You can make that attack. X, you can make that attack, and Millie, that's definitely a hit.
Am I hidden from them or no?
They are not aware of your presence. So yeah, if you're up in the tower, you can go ahead and make that roll with advantage. Millie, if you want to check that and see if it was a crit.
All right. Just roll this d20 here. Definitely not a crit.
Okay.
22 to hit for 13 damage.
Nice. Okay, give me just a moment. All right, very good. All right, the arrows, well, it's the strangest thing. They seem to, well, they slow down quite dramatically when they hit and penetrate. It's hard to even be sure that you're hurting these things. They are utterly inhuman. So, Millie, that is definitely a hit. Okay, so 7 on that.
7.
All right, and for Clifford.
Well, I think if the rope's not ready for me, then I'm going to ready an attack the short sword when one of them crawls up onto the... I don't know if these things can go up onto the shelf where he is.
They seem to be able to as they are moving towards you. Continuing to move towards you, yeah.
And Lokeg's out of range now because he's up.
Yeah, so you're the only target. One of them's been
so
hurt.
I think I'm gonna move up this way.
Well, so
go kind of...
so can you go kind of what now?
Oh, I was just thinking I could kind of go under the second floor and kind of go this way.
Yeah.
Just a move action and a hide. Try to avoid him. I'm not sure how well he can do that, but...
Instead of just standing next to the rope and waiting, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't feel good about it. I'll wait for the rope to come to me later, or I'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'm gonna get away from those things and take a little hide.
It's a weird thing to see the water ooze up onto the stone and follow you. But it does. 2 patches of dark gray, murky ooze. Bits of flotsam and refuse floating are stuck to the surface of them.
He tries not to move like, it's like one of those monster movies where as long as you don't move, they can't find you.
They seem to be still moving unerringly towards you. When you sort of round the corner and tuck yourself in, as you peek back around, they have altered their direction to come directly at you.
Alright, he's going to wait for the rope to drop down. Rope? He doesn't have his. He left it on the cliff, so...
Right, yeah.
He's ropeless. Alright.
Elena takes another shot. I hate these things, she says as she fires again. Hard to kill. Wow, that's her second nat 20.
Yeah, you roll great for her.
My goodness. Well, I don't do her voice well, but apparently I roll really well for her. It seems that the surface tension of one of the oozes breaks, and it begins to spread harmlessly along the stone and ooze back into the water. Yes, that's how you do it. Toward the center of them, she says, as if they have any discernible anatomy whatsoever. Lokag, you climb and you get to the balcony, and you are over and have your hands free. But that would, let's see here. It basically take your dash to do that as well.
Perfect. That's fine.
Or you can you can make another athletics check to see if you can surpass the rules as written.
Try it.
Heck yeah. You get up and you have an action left. You have an action remaining if you choose to use it.
I want to try and crest the balcony. I look down. I don't see cliff right away, but I can see where the oozes are moving towards.
Yeah.
So he wants to try and swing the rope. Okay. Yeah, he wants to try and swing the rope like that direction across the front of the building
Okay.
and see if Cliff can grab it.
Yeah.
You're like ready a drag when I grab it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
I can do swashbuckling.
So yeah, you could swing it over that way. Pretty easy to do. And so you said you maintain a hold on the rope so that once he grabs hold, you're going to start hauling Cliff up?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect. Next in the order is X. The oozes below continuing to dart toward the wounded Clifford.
Take another shot. If they're not aware of me, I'll take it at advantage. If not, then just a regular shot.
Here. They seem to be, well, yeah. It's going to be a single roll this time.
Okay. So we will uncheck that box for sneak damage then, because nobody's within 5 feet. Right.
Correct.
Choo! 9 to hit.
And that's a miss. And missing looks like the arrowhead just lodges into the outer surface of the ooze and sort of drifts and drops back out. But the metal is smoking when the arrowhead drops back out. Before, of course, the arrow vanishes, right? Because it's magical? Or you tell me. Does it vanish? Or does the arrow stay?
Arrow probably just sticks there.
Okay.
Starts to slowly dissolve or whatever.
Perfect. Any other movement or anything for X? Does he say anything?
Nope, he's just hanging out there with the rope at the edge of the tower. Houston.
All right. Next in the order, Clifford.
Yeah, I grab the rope. You need to roll for that, or?
No, if he's going to pull you up, you're just sort of securing yourself to it. So like wrapping your arm around it, wrapping it around one of your feet, that kind of thing. Just getting a good grip on it.
Can I do a cool swashbuckling move where I grab the rope and I sort of like run toward the gray ooze, and then as the arc of being pulled up, as he sweeps above the gray ooze, as he's being carried up, he swings his sword and tries to slash at it?
Yes, it would still get an attack of opportunity. I think.
Technically, I'm not moving. I'm being moved.
I think in this case, though, that's an intentional arc of your movement.
Okay. I was going with like some of the cheese I've seen in raw groups, but I'm not going to try that hard. But he does get close to it, like 10 feet away at least, so he can see it and take note of it. He could maybe chuck a dagger, but he's not going to bother. He'll just focus on getting out there.
Okay.
And go for a ride.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to hear back in chat if you all think I should have let Clifford do that. But let's in terms of the game, though, let's go ahead and move forward.
Yeah, rules lawyers come.
Yeah. Or not rules lawyers, but game theorists, storytellers. Rule of coolists. What do y'all think? Let us know.
I think it's your call, man. I don't care.
Oh, sure. But we're interactive here, so I want to know what other people think and how other people want to do things. It's part of the fun of the hobby. So, okay. So Lokag, you can go ahead and make that athletics check. So pull your now best friend Clifford up. Oh no, yeah. If you roll too high, it just launches you up into space.
Just a 13 from Lokag. Does his little giant feature? He's just when push, pull, drag, lift things.
Yeah.
I don't know if that plays a part in.
So I'm gonna say So I'm gonna call that a success because you were large and very strong.
I'm negligible. I'm pretty light. I'm tall but lanky.
So yeah, Clifford, you make the top, and you do. Let's say you have an action left as well.
Oh, so just an object interaction to get that. He'll just look at everyone else and say, "Hey, you're all right. Things are looking up." And then he'll kind of sort of duck and dodge. He'll just take a dodge action for now.
I'm so glad to see you're not dead.
Yeah,
says Helena.
We had a bet going. Helena was pretty sure you both were dead. I was going for being prepared for you.
It's the first money I've lost today, and I'm not happy about it, she says. But it's good that you're alive.
Yeah, I'm good on being alive. I'm definitely on the side of me being alive. And Lokag, buddy, we did it. We're all right. We're all right. Yeah, where it's not like another 100
yeah.
goblins through that door.
I am
That's-
very excited that you are still alive. This is a good thing, I think.
You too, buddy.
We're getting a lot
Yeah,
more
well-
attention than I would like, says Helena, and then looks over toward Millie. What was Millie going to say?
We did lock the doors up to here, so welcome to the locked top of a tower.
Yes. Where all of their attention is now drawn, but they can't get into, I think. Yes. We locked it good. She grins over at Millie.
What'd you find in there?
Locks, she says, to lock it. Oh. Well, you'll see. You definitely see light playing over the hallway, the small hallway. But there's a stone sort of screen you have to go around to get out to the balcony. You can't see exactly through it. You can just see there's a lot of bright golden and white light inside. It feels comfortable and very inviting.
We found fire of.
Wasn't safe in there.
Yes, I do believe it might be the safest place down here.
Well,
Perhaps.
that would be a first. And he looks excited about going in.
The ooze
That ooze is
is
climbing the
it
wall,
is
it?
it is now climbing the wall.
All right, we better get the hell out of here.
Well, if we can't really go anywhere, it's kind of locked in there. It'd be a great place if we kill this ooze. It'd be a great place to take a very short nap.
Is it okay if I shoot at this thing again? Says Helena.
Please, please.
She does so. Anyone else that wants to can also take a shot.
I'll swing at it when it gets to the edge. If no one hits it.
So much talking, she says as she releases an arrow. And let's see here, I believe.
Axel, take another shot? Sure.
Okay,
why
sure.
not?
Lokag readies a hammer blow if it crests the railing.
Nice. All right, hit and hit. Yeah, all of those attacks will hit. It does make it up, or it makes it up close enough. Let's see here.
And I get my my shot at it.
Mm-hmm.
Just 4 damage. One. With the slashing though.
All right, it makes it up to the top, and that's a hammer blow from Lokag. That is going to be a hit.
15. Excellent. That, nope, that is, it is 15 damage.
You can feel free to describe or pass as you dispatch the ooze.
As it crests the top, Lokag is just sitting there with his hammer, and it gets right up to the top, and he just smashes it. And it just, it smashes into the railing and just splats out to either side of the hammer.
Perfect.
It's like a Gallagher show.
I was just gonna say that, but like most of our chat doesn't have any idea who Gallagher is,
Look up Gallagher, kids.
which is good. Please don't look up Gallagher anymore. Do not. He went a bad way.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about that. Moving on. Back to the game. Away from outdated comedians with bad opinions of things. All right. So yeah, that one splatters, and with that, there's. Go ahead.
I have no idea. I missed the boat. I was not on the boat. And you telling me not to go look it up?
Well, okay. If gird your loins before researching Gallagher. Maybe that's the wrong way to put it, but steel thyself,
right in that.
fortify. Yes,
Fortify your ears.
yes. Your soul. Get ready to clutch some pearls, So with that, the last immediate threat to you all is dispatched. And the sounds of the goblins on the lower floor have gone silent. You can still hear the occasional sort of like barking, as if they're just absolutely feral goblins on the floor just below you, the middle floor, the dormitory, and with like the meditation and prayer chambers and such are. So the goblins at the very bottom floor have gone silent, as they likely look out the door and perhaps saw some of you moving around or saw the oozes.
They just see an ooze full of bolts and arrows.
Yeah. But you all see some very odd-looking goblins. It's hard to tell if they're wearing masks or if their faces are deformed. They creep out from beneath the balcony. Their eyes glow with an uglier and deeper green light than what you saw from what Cliff and Lokag saw from Merlun. But their faces just look like a maw of sharp and jagged teeth. They don't seem to be as if the lips have maybe been cut off or carved off. Again, it could be a mask. It's hard to tell without getting closer. But they creep out, one hand on the ground as if ready to run on all fours. They come out, they sort of sniff around. You can sense it a split second before one of them turns and looks upward. You all lean back from the railing back into what shadows remain up above, cast by now the golden light. And you notice that they don't stand very long in the light of the tower itself. They come out, they sniff the air, and they vanish. They dart back inside. But for Lokag and for Cliff, as you all are... do you all... Actually, pausing with any of that. Do you all ask any questions about these things? Do you try to pursue them? Do you try to take a shot at them while they're outside?
I'd rather lay low. I don't know if I hear what they're saying, or if they're just totally feral.
They're not talking.
Yeah, these are.
Yeah. The other ones you can hear shouting. It's just sort of monosyllabic. No, mine, get, hit you,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, Clifford's like, hey, he's quiet, he's just laying low. Wait for them to come up after him, he's in full fight mode.
Does anybody else want to go after them or attack them? Helena doesn't. They're not slime, so she doesn't particularly care about killing them.
No, Lokag's not pursuing.
Well, I suppose we should show you around the new place then, Helena says, striding as if she's perfectly comfortable here. You do kind of see her steps slow down or maybe falter once she steps around the screen. And it's no surprise. The light that's in here is incredibly bright. It's so bright it should hurt your eyes, but it doesn't. Everything stands out in clear, sharp detail. It seems a very flattering light. All of your companions look quite attractive and heroic, and it doesn't necessarily make them look more muscular or anything like that, but it's just very flattering on the lines of people's faces. It draws out things you hadn't noticed before about each other's features, and it gives you the strange feeling, seeing each other in this light, that you know each other. Now, X, given your history and your being a long-time servant of another god before Macha, are you familiar with this place? Have you stood in this light before? Or I think we talked about this. You've maybe been around some of the rituals for it. But does X say anything to the party about this light?
It's good for crafting.
Helena kind of squints at you again, cocks her head as if there's something she's trying to figure out, but she can't put her finger on it yet. Her eyes sort of narrow down at you for a moment, as if to say, I'm going to figure you out. But the next moment she seems utterly distracted. But as Clifford and Lokag come in, this golden and white light, there's a flame standing in the middle of the air between columns. Let me bring us over to that map. Yeah.
Go into the light.
All right, I have one more thing. No. So yeah, there's a mosaic on the floor of like orange and yellow and white stones depicting a flame, but there's an actual stark white flame that stands in the air above this above the stonework and surrounded by these pillars. It is absolutely still, a flame like a white candle flame in an airless, a still room. But there's movement on the pillars and on the walls. The pillars themselves seem to ebb and flow with a silvery light, as if the ebbing and flowing of the moon. And each panel of the outer walls beyond the pillars shows a scene of, well, fields and forests outside of Arabelle. But each one is a different season, and the seasons seem to chase each other around the circle. If you stare at one wall, the seasons will slowly change and cycle through. And at any point, you'll see summer, spring, fall, and winter. You feel, a feeling of ease and comfort and welcome. You feel sort of called to sit down and to cook a meal, to craft things together, to make plans or to tell stories, to get to know each other, to rest, to dream, and to plan. Those things which will make life good again, whether it's to plant crops, to brew good wine, to build a house, or to pull Arabelle out from underneath the Goblin stone. So I'm curious what Lokag's reaction is to stepping into this sacred place.
After walking through and shielding his eyes from the light, he kind of looks around and gawks at all of the majesty in the room, and he just looks around, kind of speechless at it. He can't believe this place is here inside of this horrible nightmare that they walked into.
A place of peace and light and safety in such a dark place surely would stand out. Is there anything that Lokag does? Any religious or spiritual rites from his own places? Any cheers or toasts or words of import? Does anything like that come to Lokag? No is a perfectly good answer. I'm just giving you opportunities to show us who he is.
He's got a very big bear claw on like a string around his neck,
mm-hmm.
and he's kind of fingering it. He's kind of like running it through his fingers and rubbing it. But he doesn't say anything other than that.
You've carried that with you for a good time, for a good long while, right?
Oh yes.
You kind of feel like as you run your fingers over it, you feel it sort of warm to the touch with its own warmth. And you can feel sort of power, this energy wanting to flow into it.
I think feeling this, Lokag is gonna take the bear claw necklace off,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking back to X's words, he's gonna hold it over the flame in the middle.
Okay. Make a strength
He's
saving
not sure
throw.
if the tower's... Thank you. He's not sure if the tower's asking to sacrifice it or what, but he feels compelled. 15.
So what, likely, like a lot of stories that you have where this might figure in, times where it really helped anchor you in mindset or give you strength. But then there's the place that you got it from, and perhaps memories of that surge forward as you're communing with it and with your ancestors. Do you want to maybe share a little bit of how he got this with the party? Just maybe
Lokag got this claw is from basically his naming day hunt. So every at a certain age, when they're ready, young Goliaths will go out into the mountains and perform a hunt. And Lokag chose to hunt the largest mountain bear that was known to them. Most people leave it alone. It's considered a great spirit of the mountain. But instead of killing it to prove that he had successfully found it and bested it, he took a claw from one of its back paws. That may be the full story for another time, but it is the biggest bear claw you've ever seen. It's almost like his giant hands can barely like wrap around the claw itself.
Awesome. You can feel almost feel wisps of the flame, and you can see them sort of weave and being pulled into the bear claw, sort of into the base of it, and then up through the tip. You can feel it weave itself in strange courses throughout the hardened claw. You get the sense that this will now give you a hunter's mark sort of ability. Use it once per long rest at this point, and you'll have to blood yourself. So with a dagger, something like that, it takes a D4 of damage to activate it. And you also get the feeling that this will grow with you as you grow, go out, adventure, return to this temple, and it might grow in power. So as Lokag is, likely just holding his hand in the fire or nearby, it stretches almost up to the ceiling, so you probably can't reach and put it above it. But with the claw in your hand, the fire doesn't seem hot. When you put your hand forward with that intention, the fire doesn't seem to burn you like normal fire. As as Lokag just walks forward, takes this necklace off, and moves it toward Bridget's flame. What is Cliff's reaction to coming in and seeing this flame that you've probably heard? You've heard the stories and legends of Arabelle. You've heard of Bridget's flame, surely, but maybe you've never seen it. You certainly, haven't seen it in this particular context. So, how does Cliff react to this? Oh, sounds like we're losing you a little bit. There you are. Mm-mm. Yeah, I think we're losing you.
I think he...
Uh-oh. Is that happening for everybody else too?
You lose me?
I think
You don't hear me?
Yeah, I lost you for a moment.
Oh.
Yeah, it sounds like you're back.
Okay.
Okay. Good. I'll be loud. Yeah, he's gonna sort of just take it all in and watch the display and just be a witness to Lokag and try to take it all in. Try to get an insight of the effects that are taking him over.
Okay.
He does have his pistol. He's kind of got his hand on it, wondering how it's doing. He's a little worried about it.
Well, it's in good shape. You don't think you were unconscious all that long. The hobgoblin didn't have time to scratch it or ding it up, and in fact, it looks like they handled it with kids' gloves. Like there's not a scratch or mark on it.
Wow.
Yeah, they had kind of yeah. Hobgoblins respect good weapons. That's one thing that they do respect. But not that maybe that's something you all will come to know. So yeah, as you take this in, you kind of see what Locag has done. Helena moves over, takes her pack off, finds a spot as far from the door, probably over here on the western side of the map, far from the stairs and the door outside. She pulls some bit of cloth out, wraps it over her ears and her face, and thunks her head down on her pack. And after sort of tossing and turning and getting in an increasingly tighter and tighter fetal position, she finally goes to sleep, snoring softly occasionally.
Millie will turn to Cliff and just, if you are willing to sacrifice something into it, it can empower things.
Haven't I given enough sacrifices, for God's sake? He kind of looks to his, his belongings and stuff.
Not necessarily monetarily sacrifice.
Like I gotta make a promise. Like I'm not allowed to curse anymore for a little while. Like I gotta make some kind of.
Perhaps I simply provided it some of my newly found energies.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, I'm all out of energy right now. I'm tired.
I feel that's one.
Yeah,
We'll
Clifford
find a
doesn't
place to.
He used it all up, so I'm gonna wait till he can, kind of recover, and he'll be the holdout, the suspicious holdout of like, well, what have you guys gotten yourselves into here? Is this a cult? So he's all suspicious. I'm gonna roll just an insight check, just to flavor it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he'll. It's either a 20 or.
Well, yeah. I guess if taking that first roll, I guess that would be a 6. So maybe Clifford does think it's some sort of cult, or he. Yeah, it's up to you. I think in this case, how that insight fails you.
Okay, doesn't get some weird glow in his eye. That's what I think. He's pretty sure it's a cult. He's gonna be. He really.
Oh
I just
yeah.
got the right idea. I'm gonna go find a corner.
Nick, yeah, your audio is cutting in and out. I'm losing you here and there. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds just
fine
like
for a while.
internet troubles.
Yeah, it sounds like just internet hiccups and stuff. I'll tell you what though,
Sorry.
maybe.
Well, if you missed anything, he's just gonna be very wary, and he's gonna watch out for Locag and make sure like he's not becoming possessed by some weird shiny god.
Perfect.
It becomes golden, like plated. Ooh, we'll notice that.
Yeah. Then we'll all jump in and get armored. Millie started to say something?
So Millie will just probably go towards the kind of outside facing door, and then rest kind of near it. Just keeping an ear out for any signs of trouble.
All right. thank you for the follows. Is that Star Wars Go Player Zero?
Right.
I'm gonna guess. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. And welcome to the stream. That is if you're just getting here. All right, so Millie, you slip off and you said toward the door where you can kind of hear what's going on outside and try to get yourself a nap as well.
Yep.
All right. Well then, what about X? What is X doing during this time?
X is interested in going and exploring downstairs, but when he saw those goblins poke their little heads out, then he's thinking maybe the tower's not clear yet. So when the whole group left with their loot, I thought maybe the tower was empty.
Yeah.
Do I suspect that there's still a lot of goblins in here, or a few?
It doesn't sound like it.
Or what
You don't think there's any more than 8 goblins. But you all did notice something weird about these, and they may not be your normal goblins that you fought out in the square. They might be a little more involved or have some surprises to them. They did seem wirier, more muscular. Not any bigger, but just as if they've been fed, maybe trained better or something. They look like they might be a little bit tougher fight than the goblins from above.
Okay. So Millie asked about the doors. I do believe we locked the 2 gates.
Yes.
Currently, they're closed and locked.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So X will give up on the idea of exploring tonight,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna search the room and see if there's anything at all in here except for just like barren stone. If there's anything of interest.
There is not. It seems to be kept completely clean. Any cabinets that might hold ritual gear would all have been down below. This place was kind of kept basically completely clean. Things were brought in for ritual, and then on the 8 sort of high holidays, they're decorated in very specific ways.
So then X is just gonna announce to the group. He'll say, "I'll take second watch." He's gonna just go over behind one of these pillars here,
Mm-hmm.
and just lean up against the pillar and plan to start my 4 hours of elven meditation.
Okay. And what about Lokag after this experience with the Bear Claw and Bridget's Flame, having this new power in this item? What does Lokag do next?
Lokag's going to, replacing the necklace. He's going to look around and to say, "It is good to have the whole gang back together. I am glad we are all here. Serious face, mustache man, smelly girl, and rat hat lady. I am grown fond of you all. But I need to sleep, and I am going to take a nap. Wake me if there's trouble." And he's gonna kind of like saunter over to the wall, use the pack. I guess he's got Cliff's pack as well. I assume he gave that back to Cliff at some point.
Maybe he
Or after
forgot.
the swim.
He might not have noticed the extra weight. Who knows?
He takes both packs and used them as a double pillow.
Yeah, Cliff wasn't going to remind him until now.
All right, he'll definitely hand it back.
Thanks for carrying that for me. Nice to have you around.
And Lokag is gonna go lay down, and as soon as his head hits the pack, it's an obnoxious snore. It is just an absolute beast of a snore.
Millie gets up at some point and manages to bodily roll you over onto your side.
Yeah, I think Millie would have been taking first watch.
Okay.
No one else.
There is a trick for that. When someone snores, you put your fingers and you squeeze their nose so they can't breathe through their nose, and then eventually they won't be able to breathe, so they'll go.
I'm gonna try that soon. That's great. Ah, yes. Okay. So, as you all go down for rest and for watch.
And they don't wake up because it's not like.
Oh, I think we lost you again there. Yeah, that's rough.
I'm done. I just stopped talking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the internet's screwing with you a little bit there.
Do I still sound weird right now?
No, but you did for just a moment there. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's like your mic overloads and clips, and then we lose you for a few seconds until it cuts back
Huh.
in.
I don't know. Yeah.
Whisper.
It sounds more like an internet connection thing to me, but actually,
Oh, my
but yeah.
internet's solid.
Well, let's deal with that in just a moment as
Yeah.
as
Yeah, break coming up.
yeah, as you all go into, sort of lay down to rest, set yourself up to watch over your new allies in this sacred place. You don't have any trouble going to sleep, despite the unfamiliar smells, the sounds, and the fact that that you're surrounded with danger, surrounded by the enemy, deep in the enemy territory, as it were. But you all can sleep safely. Those of you who dream of a distant future. The stone still tops the city of Arabelle, but it has been carved. Walkways and balconies. So, it's been added to, made part of the city. There's not much detail beyond that. A dream of days beyond these days of smoke and fire and blood, and much needed companionship. This is a good spot to take a break for a few minutes and come back to it, if that sounds good with everybody. Let me get some water.
Excellent.
All right.
I will be right back.
All right. Change the music up a little bit. And how we doing, stream? We having a good time so far? Check in with some messages. I'm gonna chill for a minute while other folks go and take a break. And
We had two interesting questions up here in chat there, DM.
okay.
One was, is time normal inside this chamber? Or is it running at a different speed, consistency?
You're not really sure. You don't have any. The players don't have any information to go on with that.
The second one is there any rats around for our friend Helena to converse with and or tell things aren't okay?
Yes, around, but not in the immediate vicinity. There's been a lot of upheaval, and actually the Tower of Ogma, amazingly, due to its miraculous construction, didn't have any rats. And with the massive displacement, the stone sort of cracking through, breaking, and sort of connecting the bottom of the stone with the sewers, there certainly will be rats. And the stone definitely came with its own rats. They're not immediately accessible. But that is a great question.
If I close my eyes and wish I was back in town, then walk through the flame,
Mm-hmm.
what happens?
You
wish
don't
spell.
get burned. It warms your body. Everybody else make a perception check.
It's 0.
Yeah.
You see X suddenly disintegrate.
He's gone forever. Yep, he's gone forever.
Ah,
Yeah.
I will
These things
respond
happen.
to what those checks show when I come back. I'm going to step out for the restroom, grab some water.
I definitely think you just cast a wish spell. definitely sounds like a good idea to go snooping down into this tower next. But do
I
we
was
want to go
kidding
down the
about walking
stairs? I don't know if he knows that.
Well, we'll see what happens.
You're instantly
Yeah, I think-
healed
I
and
think
fully
go
recovered,
downstairs.
you know?
Downstairs sounds good to me.
Do we want to go down the stairs or down the rope to the thing? The the other thing.
Having tragically failed all of my athletics checks trying to get up a small hill, I'm not
Sure.
inclined to rope
It's only
climbing.
20 feet, 2d6, probably 12 points of bludgeoning damage. The way DM's been rolling.
Yeah. Start out the day with a brand new, fresh set of hit points and immediately lose most of them.
Yeah, no. That's how it goes for us. What is happening outside? That's a question we do not ask, Jar Jar. We are too afraid to ask that question.
Hey, how's my sound? Sound okay?
It's good now, yeah.
Good now.
It's kind of jumps in
Yeah?
and out, yeah.
Weird. I'm gonna try to get really close to the microphone.
So it sounds like this, and you'll say something, and then you come back in later.
What's happening?
It might cut out or internet cut out.
I'm gonna try a different. Alright, I'm trying setting 1. We're doing setting 1 now. See if that helps.
That's why I asked about that. Yes, we do not have enough information to confirm or deny that time is moving normally in this chamber.
You guys
But if an
smell
hour
something?
passes, only a burning X.
Thanks, Nick's computer's on fire now that he changed it to setting 1.
Yeah? Am I loud now?
No, it's fine.
Huh? We're hacking too
I just
much
imagine
time.
you clicking a button and going, setting 1, and your fucking
Setting
computer's like, done.
I told you not to press setting 1. Have any of you ever seen Kung Fury? It was like a made-for-video, like web movie, and it's really amazing. But there's a guy named Super Hacker, and he makes you travel through time, and he's like he hacks his way through time. It's amazing. Super Hacker is a genius. I highly recommend it. I'll share a link for the group.
Nice. That sounds like just the kind of thing I'd watch.
It's so good. It's so good. I can't say enough about it. Hacker Man. The legend.
Man, yeah, that's like the only thing I
Pretty
know
sure
of.
it's free.
Do you remember like the original old D&D cartoon that was on
Sure.
like 30 years ago?
Sure. They had the characters were in the movie. The original cartoon kids were like real actors played them. Pretty great.
Well, what are we talking about now?
The original D&D cartoon in the 80s or later.
It was the 80s. It was just before my time. So
Yeah.
late 80s.
No. No, I
Anyway,
watched
there's
that
an
show.
acrobat in there for some reason when you were talking about Super Hacker or whatever. I thought of that D&D intro and Hackrobat.
What's up with my camera?
New class, Hackrobat.
Acrobat, I love. Like, you have 2 axes and you just chop people along.
Heck is up with my camera right now?
It's desiring to look at your mouse.
It motioned, followed you out of the room, and then focused in on, like, I don't know, a mini or something.
Oh, okay. Weird. Yeah, I don't quite know how to turn that auto tracking off. It does get on
It's
my
got a
nerves.
mind
a
of its
little
own. This is where AI is.
Just don't
a
try
problem.
setting 1. Don't click setting 1. Please don't click setting 1.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Check back in. All these windows.
Real quick, I'm gonna try changing my microphone, guys. See if that helps.
Okay.
Wait.
So DM, I made a pun in chat earlier. I'd like to share with you.
Yeah, what's up?
That gelatinous cube had character levels. It would take monk levels. Do you know why?
No, DL, I don't.
It's really good at unarmed combat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's got no arms.
Mm-hmm.
All right, whatever.
We used to have the noise thing for that.
Oh, did they take it out?
No, I just have no idea where it went. Also got the
Yeah, I'm on my phone now.
Okay. Well,
Image though of rope egg just climbing that rope on the outside of the tower super easy, but with a backpack in each hand.
each hand just on each shoulder.
Just one
while he
over,
goes
one
up
over
the rope.
each shoulder.
yeah.
Both on his
Just 7 bags on Loka gag.
Well, they're bracing each other, so they stay put. It's perfect. Let's see here. So yeah, Jar Jar Binks was asking. Yeah, it's a safe place to rest. Yeah, I was gonna get into that once we jump back into it. Of those on watch, hearing what's going on outside. And yeah, good point. Are you all taking a short rest, or are you all going for a long rest?
I intend a long rest. We have 1 hit point characters. That's would be my intention.
And very few spell slots left, so I am not against it. I just didn't know how much time we wanted to pass down here in the stone.
Good luck
X's
getting
expert opinion.
Lokag awake after the next hour. Might sleep the whole 8.
It's 25 hours later.
You might not have a choice but to take a long rest unless you want to leave Lokag here all by himself.
Just rolling back into the sludge.
Cliff sleeps with one eye open.
Gosh.
He doesn't read. I mean, he gets the rest, but he doesn't trust any of y'all except maybe Lokag.
now he trusts Lukag. Yeah. Helena's probably the same. She's probably gonna sleep until someone wakes her up, or she gets hungry. Yeah, there's nothing immediately stopping you from attempting to take that long rest. Although having a watch is definitely a good idea. If everybody's cool with this, does anybody not want to take a long rest?
No, I'm down. We could do watches too, just to make sure.
Yeah, so far we've got Millie first watch, X second watch.
I'll take third.
Okay. Helena has not offered.
That's
Lokag
okay.
is already asleep.
Okay. So yeah, you'll just have to wake one of them up for after your watch there, Cliff.
All right, I can do that.
So Millie, on your watch, just under a couple of hours, you hear the occasional squabbling of goblins echoing from below. You can hear, but can't see from this level, a conversation back on the cliff that you all came from. It sounds like maybe a small force has gathered up there, maybe about what you all dealt with last time, probably no more than 8. But you also hear huskier, thicker voices in there. Not just that sort of sharp, steely voice of the hobgoblins. You continue, looking out occasionally. You might see movement in the filth-covered waters below you. And in ones and twos, you see goblins leaving, slipping out the front door, and wading through the waters back toward the north. You remember seeing the torches sort of go up and begin winding their way around and over. You kind of watched the torches come into view, disappear behind the massive pillar in the center of the water, and appear back on the other side, slowly sort of rising, as if there's a set of stairs. And you found that ledge to the south, that stairs and ledges. So it seems like it winds the whole thing. You don't see where they end up, but at least you know where the stairs start from the watery area. The tower's silent, and you no longer hear goblins squabbling or breaking things beneath. Occasionally you'll hear a distant, echoing explosion of strange sounding music. You don't recognize the instruments. None of the songs are familiar, and it's just a few seconds. It seems to be echoing out from far across the waters, where that cabin sits on a little island. X, on your watch, things are pretty quiet. You only hear maybe one blacksmith working somewhere in the bottom of the stone. There was a very long ritual that was taking place to the north in some shrine, but the voices of that seem to have died down. You do hear conversation on the far side. You're looking out toward the west across the swampy water. The voices are coming from back behind you on the cliff that you came from to enter the tower. I'll bring us back to the map. Make this a little bit easier. So, yeah, you're hearing the sounds maybe coming from, the eastern side, echoing back from that way. But there's no windows on the top floor, and there's only one door out, that balcony that faces west. You could climb out on top, climb over the roof if you wanted to, and try to see what's going on over there. But that's the only way you'd be able to see from here, from inside.
Oh, I'm not that interested.
Okay. But yeah, you gather there's between four to six, maybe. Mostly hobgoblins, but there's two deeper, rougher voices. Sounds like bigger people.
And the other ones went to the north. Through the slime, there's a set of stairs or something up north. I don't know where they're going.
Nothing moves out to attack. Nothing comes into the chamber. And all throughout both your watches, that white flame is still and calm, while the light still continues to change on the walls and pillars. But it's not distracting. It allows you to sort of fall into rest, meditate as you need to. Cliff, your watch is probably the least eventful of all. It's very quiet. Just occasional soft talking of whatever group is clustered on the eastern side of the cliffs. One.
Try to hear what they're saying, maybe.
Okay, you can make a perception check. They're at a good distance, and there's a building in the way. Be a pretty high
disadvantage, I assume. Okay.
Yeah. I
just do a straight roll.
Yeah, I'm just usually I can go back and forth. Fantastic. Yeah, you can hear the gruffer voiced do not like the steely voiced ones. I think that's the hobgoblins in another group. They don't like each other. They are, well, the heavier, sort of thicker voiced folk. They seem impatient. They seem to complain a lot, and most of the conversation seems to be the hobgoblins telling them to shut up, or offering to throw them over the side of the cliff, if that would help. But
He's amused by all of this and takes notes for later in case he gets a chance to rib them with some humiliating words.
gotcha.
Yeah.
But when you've staked out enough people. This isn't even a secret. They're not being cunning about it at all.
Right.
There's a ready group to move into action to deal with you all if they see you. And they remain through your watch. What else do you do anything else through your watch, or who do you wake up? Who do you give the next watch to?
Well, I think Lokag has had 3 watches to sleep, so I might poke Lokag and say, "Hey, how you feeling, buddy?"
Does Lokag move?
Huh? Huh? What?
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 It's
Bre-
it's morning
breakfast
time. You made it through the night. Yeah. Here's a sandwich. And he hands him a little cram ration.
Hank eats it in one bite.
Good to be alive, ain't it?
Feels good.
There's something extra chewy in that ration, and then you realize you forgot to take the waxed paper off the outside.
Damn, it's a Cliff Bar. What do I do?
Where's that sound again, J Fink? Where is it? Puns will be punished. Huh? Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Well, it's funny you keep talking about the cliff faces and stuff. It keeps coming out. It's a very strange name. It's like camouflage. You don't notice him because of all the other cliffs.
Right, absolutely. It blends right in.
Blends in.
Craggy features and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, my camera's doing it again.
So he's just really jovial with, glad to be alive and just, kind of hanging out with Lokag and checking him out, making sure he hasn't been possessed by some weird demonic cult leader like the goblins are. Clearly something's going on with those hobgoblins. There's some force that's making them work together when they don't want to.
True enough. Yeah.
That's kind of that seems to be the vibe, and he'll make sure that Lokag kind of knows that. Tribes that should be fighting are making alliances all for meat, and I don't even know what the hell they mean by that yet.
Lokag, as you stare deep into Lokag's eyes, you notice a hint of green amongst the blue. It's quite evocative.
Oh, that's it. You're
not
definitely possessed.
Not glowing green, but more of a muted, sort of hazelnut kind of thing.
Oh, right. Lipid pools.
Yes.
Yeah.
Soft eyes.
He's
Very
a looker.
nice.
He's a looker.
If this was to fall out, there'd be a little flirt, and then it had to click. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so as he wakes you up for your rest, you all spend a few minutes just chatting. At some point, you hear a sharp but not incredibly loud tone from Helena. "Shut up, please." And she rolls back over and tries to stuff her scarf into her ears. And let's see here. Lokag, you hear a commotion to the east. They sort of, I'm sure Cliff briefs you that you got a group sort of staking you all out. So you can make an insight check. It sounds like there's more of them than you were told, at least for a moment, and then it sounds like there's less of them. I'm not sure what happened there.
9. Yeah.
Now, let's see here. As it just continues to get more and more quiet. There's really just the dripping of water occasional explosion of distant and very strange music that you can't place that's coming from that cabin on the water. You know, as you step out toward the balcony, in the very dim light, high up in the cavern, because the light from the tower is streaming outward. It's not so much shining upward. Although the reflected light back, you can definitely see toward the center of the area, over this giant pillar, there's a hole. It's not perfectly round, but near enough. It's 60, 70, maybe 100 feet across. And you think you see shapes darting through the air here and there. Not many. Another 30, 45 minutes, maybe another. But something seems to be flying up there. And you're able to, and you catch. There definitely seems to be, you're not sure how consistent it is, but it seems to be a group. Let me bring us back to the map here. There seems to be a group, so over on the cliffs, right, pointing to the cliffs, there seems to be a group, or maybe more than one group, that are patrolling the whole perimeter of the cliff edge. They seem to be on alert from what's below. But beyond those, insights, very little else happens. Is there anything else that Lokag does during his watch?
No, I think he rummages in Cliff's pack and tries to take another one of those bars.
All right.
It's a 21 sleight of hand
Oh
check.
my god. All right, but it's Clifford's passive perception there is pretty high. What is it again?
17.
Oh, okay. So you don't notice. Does Clifford have any more available rations for the gladiator
he
friend?
he should have rations. He would give what he has. I'll double check how much, but I did have that in my stuff.
Okay.
Yep, I have a day's worth, so 5 of them, so I can give him one. I have 5 days worth.
Okay.
So
So
I'll
that'll be
give him one.
2 that you've given him. So then it'll just be 3 days.
Yeah.
Worth, right? Oh no, because day is like you need 3 portions per day. So 5 days of food is a lot. To be clear, the way I run it, when you take a short rest, you need food and water to go with that. So that'll take a ration usually.
Right, so 2 rations for the both of us
Yeah. Okay.
for the
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
So, all right. Anything else for the Lokag then? Is you find one of these packages, perhaps unwrapping it this time, perhaps not.
Wait,
It's
hold
all
on. I feel like
safe.
I feel like this needs a roll. He
He
does not.
does
unwrap it.
not.
It's a 5. It's a 5 on the wisdom save. He thinks that's just how you eat them. So
It's biodegradable. Yeah, it's biodegradable. He wraps them in like banana leaves, so you'll be able to digest. You'll digest it.
Yeah, it's
a little gamey,
beeswax,
crunchy. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, most of you have dreams. You have this dream of what seems to be Arabelle in a possible future. But the dream is sort of edged in dark lines. And you have the certainty of dream knowledge, where you know without knowing why you know. You know that if your attention goes off to the edges of your dream, that you'll see many other possibilities for the future that aren't as bright as this one. And as the dream sort of recurs throughout your sleep, you each start to realize it's only one handful of possibilities out of millions of possibilities. That pleasant dream of a future happens at all. But the dreams give little information. It's just your daily life, whatever capacity that is, whether you're traveling through. It's just little simple, innocuous moments, the seemingly meaningless but priceless moments that make up life. But Millie and X both have different dreams. Now, for Millie, you dream of a woman. You can't see her face necessarily. Her face is very bright, not with light, but with something else, and it's hard to look at her, hard to see. You walk with her and talk with her along overgrown stone paths through a garden of various herbs and flowering plants. You can see that in the corners of the house, like the walls, where the outer wall of the house meets the ground, or in the edges of other low walls or alongside posts. You can see sort of crusted and partially melted and frozen back over snow, and you get the feeling, you feel that cold on the air. But everything feels alive. As the dream starts, and it's very hazy, and you're not sure. You don't remember the conversation, but you're part of it. It's again that dream knowledge. You're just in this conversation with her. Her name doesn't occur to you, though you know who she is. And she's someone that's known you your whole life, although you haven't known her your whole life. She talks about all the things that grow under the snow, when things are frozen, when life is still, or when it seems dead, how much life happens inside everything. You walk with her what is through a very comfortable but simply built house, and next you find yourself sort of holding tongs and holding bits of metal pulling them out of the fire for her to smelt and smith upon. And later in another shop, a rough wooden workbench, as you help her grind and mix herbs for medicines and potions. And you get the sense that she's your mentor. And there's a couple of points in the dream where you sort of become lucid and you realize that you're dreaming. And it feels very strange for a second, because just a moment ago, you were in this dream. There was no other reality. There was no Goblin Stone. There was none of that. There was just you being apprenticed to this amazing healer and smith and thinker, and this bright person that just brings people together and coaxes the very flowers up out of the soil with her sort of like, I won't say, maybe charm is the wrong words, but there's a charming essence to her. And she does, she'll speak when things are very important, and she really wants you to remember them. She speaks them in rhyme. So a few things stick with you. One, and the most important, is that let's see here. That some troublesome little brownies, as she would call them, slipped in to old Ogma's tower and took the relics that we left for those people. Those are meant to defend the city that we built and we worked so hard to craft out of chaos for our friends, our mortal friends. They need to come back to the temple. And they'll probably be dirty when they come back, and they'll need to be cleansed. The goblin, those little brownies, they can't really use them like they are, so they have to do some nasty things to them, pour some sort of, think of it as sludge over them. And so she impresses upon you Well, that, and maybe that's not the most important thing. That's a very important bit of information. She also talks about how the flame that they discovered. You think she's talking about her family, the Tuatha De Danann, that they found could work any metal, even the metal of the spirit. Let it reshape you and return when things have been hard, when you've sweated and tried a lot. Come back here to rest, and it'll make you stronger. It'll smith you and forge you for the purposes laid out before you, for the purposes that you have put yourself to. But far and away most important is, she says, gather the people back. Make them safe. Give them a place to sing, to craft, and to break their bread together. If you do this, I could ask nothing else of you. And you get an image of the market square. And you can ask questions. There's a few times that you're lucid, so you can ask 2 questions. And I can come back to you too if you want to think on those for a moment.
I think one will be, how do we ensure that the square, the place of community, stays protected from these beings? Is there anything we can implement there?
Well, she says in a simple voice that's no less musical. There are many clever people, many sons and daughters of Ogma and of fire, who can craft. War was... my brothers and sisters were better at war than I. I knew the making of devices. And she says, a big bloomin' crossbow or 2 probably wouldn't go amiss. I think you've all some good ideas. Your friend X, troubled though he's been, has started with some of them. You have a good start. Keep at it. Keep improving them. Gates if you can. If you've got people high up looking out, make sure they're protected and they can see. And watch the airs. They will be filled soon. Not filled, but soon the enemy will control the airs over the city. Tomorrow.
Which of these relics is the most precious?
There's many answers to that question, depending on who you ask. The lords, or the masters that we handed Arabelle over to, thought that the flame that we found in our travels was the most important, so they put it here. But I think it was for times of peace. But there are many items of power. Anu's book has a knowledge of history and great rites of healing and power within it. Lu's spear is unstoppable. Ogma's staff can, well, let's just say it helped him clear the ground and build new structures. Mab's shield help against those who wield wicked magics. And Dagda's rod, his club, a thing of battle, but also a thing of healing. And there's the sword of the one we cannot name, that you all call the sword of the nameless hero. A powerful blade in the hands of those who could sacrifice themselves, who have both the strength and the will to do so. Some of them ask a greater price than others. Nuada's bow asks the least. There was a bow he wielded for a short time, before he had his silver arm. That will make almost anyone shoot faster and more true. But those who are incredibly cunning, it is said, can find another talent hidden within the bow, which I cannot tell you, young lady, so don't ask me again. You get a sense that she's smiling as she says that.
I will leave it to discovery. Probably not by myself, though.
She says nothing, and you get a sense that she already maybe knows at least some of the answers to that, or at least some of the possibilities, but she doesn't say anything. Do you have your... actually, let's see here. Is it all right with you if we pause on your second question for the moment? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Because I'd like to step over to X. So X, for you, your vision, your dream, is of your new patron. She doesn't name herself, but you know her. You know, the space of the dream is a large cavernous space. You can't see the walls, just barely make them out. Not enough to be able to tell whether it's a cave, a grave, or somewhere deep beneath the castle. You can hear, though, ravens, perhaps crows nearby. You hear a soft rain, and there's a smell of moisture in the air, as if the window is open and it's either the rain or the mist sort of moving in. A voice is soft, but nonetheless imperious, no less strong, not needing to raise itself, and in fact you can feel yourself bending to hear any words whispered. You can't quite see her. You can see an outline, a silhouette in the darkness, in the deeper darkness. And now you serve me, priest of a dead god. She pauses, letting you take in this information, and you get the sense that she knows that you didn't know.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so X is just kind of stunned by that.
You can feel her lean forward. A tension, perhaps? Say his name, she says.
He's named Kukulain.
They no longer speak his name. Depending on the fate a god meets, the memory of them is pulled away from your world.
But I remember him.
His blade is out there in the dark, my cleric. You may wield it, or one of your allies. But I should think that finding and laying your hands upon his weapon should give you some closure, or some sense of rightness. You know my charge. These creatures have invaded this world against all compacts and agreements. And they have killed in this world, outside the spun lines of fate for this place. And that is our domain, she says. And you're not sure whether she means you two or her and some other people. And you think she means perhaps she might be referencing this idea that the Morrigan is a group and not a single person. A balancing such as this is challenging to think about. The most deadly foes weigh heavier. And you will subtract their future killings. So it is not just any number. I will need their champions. And I will need their magi and their priests. All of them. And there are quite a few. But there's time. There's much that you'll learn on the way there. The path will... Well, the path would harrow most. But I know that you have experienced the worst a mortal can experience, the touch of a god and the loss of that touch. I will never leave you, for I am in a place where I may not be killed, but we are not of the order that are undying. So do these sweet favors for me, X, while we both have time. There's a long... she is silent after that. Her presence is still there. You can't tell whether she's waiting or about to say something. You get the feeling at first that she's pausing for effect, for it, to enhance her speech, but that silence stretches onward. Does X say anything?
X will make the commitment. He'll get down, put one knee on the ground and kneel down, and he'll say, I am your servant.
Don't kneel to me, X. There's only one time you will kneel. That is when you yourself leave this mortal coil and your body dies. That is the only act of kneeling I accept. You are a servant of the Morrigan and Matcha. You bow to none, for you serve death and the weavings of fate. You can hit, not an irritated, nothing not human, but there's a solidness in her tone that indicates you came close to some sort of misstep. You may not have understood, and that she perhaps forgave it this time, but you get the feeling that if you kneel to her again, she'll be unhappy. You may have to find some other way to express that, your devotion.
All right, well, I guess I'll express it with souls counted in the future.
You have the tools. You have the allies to get you there. And I should think this will align with their aims as well. I will not be a goddess to comfort. I will not be a goddess that answers all of your questions or your prayers. But you may ask them. And then that pause continues. As if she's giving you the opportunity to ask if you have a question. And we can also pause with both of these questions, and we can come back to them in later sessions even. If you all want to.
I was going to say, I would like this to be, quote, a favor to be named later.
Okay.
There's some questions I want to ask, but I don't want to ask them right now.
Fair. Yeah, totally.
So,
well, we can flash back to this sometime. On a long rest another time.
Yeah.
All right. So let's slip back over to J Fink, and how you feeling? Did you have that question, or did you also want to leave yours for later?
Let's leave that for later. I think that's a good idea.
I love it. Okay. So as you all rest, your dreams and visions, your body sleeps the deepest sleep you ever recall. It is only one of your allies waking you up. The smell of one of you cooking warming some of your rations into some sort of meager breakfast, feeling safe enough to do so in a place that survived the falling of the Goblin Stone. There's very little that's exciting, of course, but you can sort of warm the bread back over, probably maybe soak it in some bread, or in a little bit of water, get some consistency, make a griddle cake out of the hardtack, and that sort of thing. You all can go ahead and calculate that long rest for your characters. Your powers are restored. You can starting to have insight into what this knowledge is that is opening inside of you. And you can go ahead and prepare any spells and that sort of thing that you have. Let's see. So now. I think in a normal session, this is where I would say it might be a little early, but this might seem like a good time to pause for the session.
Works for me. Yeah.
But I think if there are other things you all would want to do during the rest, any other things you all want to prep or work on?
Prep, because we're going to get ready to explore the tower, so we could kind of get to the point where we're ready to go down the stairs.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, we didn't have the whole crew here, but did we want to go down the stairs or down the rope? But I think X, having the cliff experience, would prefer the stairs.
I'm strongly against rope climbing. Yeah. But that's one person's opinion. I mean, it's a group decision.
Yeah.
We could Locag can carry you. It's okay.
X doesn't weigh much. He's pretty gaunt.
Locag could probably carry half the party down a rope.
This is true. I am very strong.
I think I
None
may
of us
have.
are in plate armor, so there we go.
Oh, Lokag, it looks like we lost you on camera.
Yes, my internet went out.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That weird magical thing.
It is all right. This is back now.
Yay! Hooray!
All you gotta do to fix that is cast web.
Got to upcast it though.
That was pretty funny.
That was pretty good.
Womp, 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 womp.
We all need one. Just a button. I do a little
Should
more work on
everyone-
my stream deck, so.
You do have
should
to cast it worldwide, though, so it's a pretty big
Worldwide.
upcast. Ouch.
Ninth level spell. How do spells work in paladins again? Darn it. Rain. Yep, there it is.
Well, that's all right. There's some
So I
new
think
considerations.
if we sneak down the stairs, then we can kind of like surprise any goblins we come across. If we go down the rope, and suddenly spot goblins, then we're dangling from a rope and rolling initiative, and that doesn't feel good. So I really don't like the rope idea. I'm just saying.
I am tired of ropes. I want to use the stairs. I will go with you down the stairs. Serious face.
We'll have to unlock them again.
Well, if it was as easy to unlock them as it was to lock them, says Helena. or if it's easy the second time as it was the first. I think the stairs seems a better idea. You all are helpless on ropes.
It is not me I'm worried about.
Me either. She looks over toward X and Clifford.
Alright, so let's unlock the stairs then.
I mean, if I had my rope, I left my good rope over there on that cliff, goddammit. I'm gonna go back and get it, too. Along with that kid. I saw that kid, that Oscar kid, that chosen one. I think we didn't want to die, so we ran away, but he
No
sort of
idea who
checks
you're
anyone
talking
else.
about.
Yeah, he remembers.
Oh, we found some dead people in the water. They were being eaten by a big gray blob. Kind of square shaped, but more like three-dimensional.
Yeah, I could barely see it at first, but you could see a little shimmer of it. And looked like it was consuming somebody. That was a loot. I think it was a bard. I don't know. Glad it wasn't me.
Definitely fair. Clearly they weren't to meet the masters.
Maybe they did, says Helena.
Perhaps.
Well,
Let's hope we don't.
not until we're good and ready. I certainly am with Lokag. I don't want to meet them either.
Not if they throw people off cliffs.
Yeah, yes.
So we're suggesting going downstairs then, says Helena. Suppose my bow's still in good shape.
We must stay quiet.
Yes, I think just a couple of us should go up ahead. Maybe scouting it out. Maybe Millie and X? She volunteers, both of you.
I can be quite quiet.
I will help you. Guidance.
All right. Yeah. So you guys can go ahead and for Millie and X to make those stealth checks and your perception checks. And let me switch us back over to another map.
So 23 for stealth.
All right.
26 for melee stealth. Fortunately, only a 3 perception.
It is dark.
25 perception.
Nice.
Kind of blocking Millie's view, but I'm getting the good view.
It's dark. I also can't see anything. I don't.
Yeah, it's dark down below.
got to install more torches in these places.
Well, you all have flaming arrows you could use as a light source, torches, and some other things. You all could bust out some light, or send the ones with dark vision ahead to scout.
I'm pretty sure
discuss
X
among
has it,
yourselves.
so I'm just kind of wandering behind him
Okay.
into the darkness.
So, as you wind down,
I assume the rest
go
of the
ahead.
group. I assume the rest of the group is, behind us, not exactly right behind us, but they're following.
Nah, you guys can go ahead. I'm gonna go back home.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this. I don't trust you. You're all in a cult anyway. Cliff follows reluctantly behind, just watching people, making sure they're not doing anything shady.
Gotcha.
Trying to sell them any books or,
We all have a green glow coming from our eyes.
I mean, to be fair, a guy with 70 tattoos, who you think is part of a cult, could be pretty suspicious.
Yeah.
That is
I
true.
don't know. Tattoos
Could
are
be pretty suspicious.
depends on what the tattoos are. If it's all like the same face over and over again, I'm gonna get creeped out.
It's all small fuzzy cats. No, it's everything. It's all different kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we see some stuff here.
All right, so X, as you creep down the stairs, you wind around the whole circumference of the tower, or let's see here. No, yeah, you're about a quarter of the way around the tower. Or, I'm sorry, about halfway around the tower. Sorry, and the windows are broken out. You can see the colored glass sort of littering the floor down below. It's quiet on the second floor. You peer across, you can see the other stairway going down to the first floor, the entryway.
What do you see?
And you can feel free to go ahead and pull yourself onto the map there, or I could take care of it. As those are the stairs that you're on, they're on the left. As you creep down, you have to move really carefully once you step off the stair, not to crunch any of the glass under your feet, as that could definitely give away your position. Millie, your eyes start to adjust a little bit. There is some light from outside that's coming in through the windows, but it's indirect. As your eyes adjust, it becomes dim light for you. So you can see, but not very well, and anything could be hiding it, 30 feet away from you. There's doors set. This is a prayer meeting chamber, a chamber of rituals and healing work and such. There's the two ritual doors, one to enter and one to exit from.
We want light. Suppose you don't need it.
Does X respond to that? You want light?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I really kind of don't want light.
Right, lead the way. I can barely see.
Yeah, I don't need it.
So you're moving pretty slow, guiding Millie along, as at first anyway.
Next up, slow. We got all day.
Yeah. But then, once her eyes develop a little bit dark. Let's see here. You see broken furniture. Looks like it's been pulled out of rooms and scattered about the floor. Many doors hang open. And you're certain you could see into them if you were close enough.
I will work on getting close enough.
Which direction do you go? Do you go straight north? Do you go east? Do you go toward the doors in the center? Okay. So as you come up closer to them and peer inside, revealing by hand, give me just a moment. Looks like the table has been split by several axes. There was a large, very comfortable kind of couch where people were laid out for healing and certain things like that. It looks like it's been cut up with blades and stuffing has been pulled out everywhere. Looks like they tried to destroy both chairs, but they're really solidly made. They kind of axed into them. Yeah. Looks like they put a lot more effort into breaking the table for whatever reason they did the chairs, and then likely lost interest or something else grabbed their attention. Now, the rest of you all are back up, maybe 40 feet back up the stairs. And it's pretty dark on the stairs. So, for Helena and Cliff, and for Lokag, it's pretty dark up on the stairs. You can see your eyes are starting to adjust, and you can see there's some light below coming in through the windows. You're starting to see a little bit of twinkling light off the broken glass below. But you can't hear your allies. They've disappeared down into the murk. Do you all hang back, or it's not really able to communicate right now? So, do you all hang back and wait for them to come and give you a signal, or are you kind of staying after them?
Follow along.
Lokag would just be at the. Lokag will follow Cliff. I think this is going to become a thing. He's going to follow Cliff around.
Awesome.
And I'll keep 10 feet behind, and keep an eye out. Make sure they're still in thin range for me to know where they're going.
Oh, you're going to stay that close to Millie and X?
Well, I mean, if they're going ahead and they're trying to be sneaky, and the plan is for them to go and come back, then I don't need to. But if the plan is for us all to kind of follow along, then I don't want to lose them.
Right. Yeah.
And they'll be out of sight. So I feel like I should stay 10 feet away.
10 feet is not a lot of feet.
Yeah. So what did X and Millie say when they left the group? Did they say we'll come back for you, or did they say follow along?
My thought is, that they follow behind us, but they stay 30, 40 feet away. And,
Okay, I can do that as long as I can track you. I don't lose you.
We can go back and forth with the group. We can go back and talk with them a little bit. Hey, you didn't see anything yet. And
Sure.
Now we can come back and say, hey, the room is empty, but it looks all cut up.
Yeah, that's cool.
Investigate it.
Okay. So you all are,
I'll stay back.
ferrying information back and forth. As you come up to the door, looking at the broken table, scanning the area, let me reveal a little bit more of the map. And you are starting to hear some sounds, very, very small sounds. One is coming from, you think, this door to the west over here. But then you also hear some sounds coming from the darkness on the other side, on the eastern side. Both sound like small bits of furniture or broken bits of furniture being moved. And from the left side, the western side, you hear someone, it sounds like metal scraping at rock. Might be a few straggler goblins left behind, still seeking some sort of treasure. Sounds too big to be a rat. Which would, of course, disappoint Helena.
Sounds like we might have company.
You said that was coming from the right side?
You hear it from both sides. So the right, through the shadows, you can't really see from where you're at. Well, you moved there now. So, and on the other side, this door on the left side of the map. So is that coming up on stream? Yes. Okay. So So yeah,
See some things here that look like cover, so I'm going to work my way around.
yeah, there's bits of broken furniture. Now that you're closer, it looks like the door I've just revealed is where another set of sounds are coming from. Both the doors have been pushed almost closed. They just barely open a crack. In fact, so close that it's probably within the door frame, and you probably wouldn't be able to see them through the crack. These do have keyholes, though. You might be able to peer through the keyhole.
And where are those doors? Further up, inside or outside? They're toward the outside.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put some marks on the map to indicate this was, and this one seem to be where sound is coming from. A lot of others seem open. We go ahead and reveal a series of broken chambers. So there are two chambers. There are looks like a piece of furniture was dragged in. Looks like glassware and such was perhaps broken in here. So Cliff, bringing back over here, right? So you're back sort of 40 feet away. As you all come up to the door looking in, this looks like it was probably maybe readying rooms for either ceremony or healing rites, or they could have just been meeting rooms. But the large armoire kind of furniture in here and the broken tables looks like it was some sort of like a little meeting chamber or something. The next that X is looking into looks to be, well, there's just 6 glass cases that have been smashed to pieces. Whatever was in them is gone. There were some religious relics, not magical ones, but the hand bone of an early saint of Arabelle, the remaining pommel of another hero's sword. Looks like all that stuff has been gone as well. Millie, J. Fink, you started to say something?
Yeah, I think Millie would just signal to them, like tapping an ear. Just gonna show like sound up ahead, and then slowly follow.
Okay. Meanwhile, back on the
Okay, says to Cliff. Was that the signal? Do we go in now?
Yeah, follow me.
Sorry, DM.
That's okay. No, that's perfect. I was about to say, meanwhile, back on the stairs.
Yeah, we'll read the signal and follow along.
Okay. So, moving along, you all come down the stairs, your boots crunching in glass, as a particularly large piece snaps under Lokag's foot, echoing out through the darkened stone. The scratching sounds at the door just to the north of you cease. The silence in the hall seems very tense all of a sudden. You're too far to hear the scraping and sounds from the other door, but you wouldn't be surprised if that ceased as well. So it seems that whatever's here is aware of your allies, at least. But so far, you and Millie are both ghosts.
Sorry.
Shh.
I think Lokag's gonna try and get out of the glass area by hopping the banister. There's a low level of light in the room, so you can kind of see a little bit around us, right?
Once you're sort of down there, your eyes are starting to adjust to the light coming in through the window. Is showing the immediate area anyway, but it gets really dim as you step away from. Let's see here. it looks like so as you come down the stairs, those of you with dark vision, this sort of outer ring, there's like sloped wooden shingled roofs on it. Now that you're inside and you're close enough looking at these rooms from Million X, it looks like the axes were taken to the ceiling panels as well. And so broken glass that was up on top of it has filtered down into the rooms. Yeah, so there's like, these roofs are pretty decently lit up with light reflected back in, especially on the eastern side where the light is hitting the cave wall or the cliff wall outside and bouncing back in. So it's actually a little bit bright, but there's still here at the doors, there's deep pools of shadow where the light's not really hitting as directly. But this wall is fairly illuminated. You can see some of the tapestries and paintings that have been cut, or paint has been splashed on them. One of them has been pulled down, and blood or paint has been spattered all over it, as well as a few other unnameable fluids. The glass is, there's thick chunks of it that you're moving through, but Lokag, you managed to slip your way around, and you can just barely make out the doorways in the shadow of the wall. You know, the roofs up above are a lot easier to spot themselves. But a tense silence hangs over. And Lokag, you can hear something moving in that door, something scrambling, small bits of broken glass slipping along the stone floor. And you hear, let's see here. Yeah. You hear the cranking of a heavy crossbow.
From that same direction?
Yep. From that doorway.
Okay. Lokag wants to signal to Cliff and like point at the door, and he wants to try and approach it and see if he can just like stand off to the side of the door and push it open, like without being full framed in the entryway.
Okay. I'll go ahead and move your token up.
Yeah, and I'll follow. I can't seem to move my token, so you got to move me.
Are we
That's
all
weird.
going to regroup here, or what?
I don't know. Or wait, all right, hold on. I'm gonna hold off on this action. This is a lot. This is too much.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, we talk about it.
We
We talk about it.
Yeah,
We think about what we're gonna do, and then
yeah. That's what he's suggesting to do. I did forget the plan. I'm sorry. Thank you.
that's all right. Yeah, he nods. He's like, yeah. As long as you go first, I'm good.
Alright. You should be able to control your character sheet now.
There I am. Yeah, now I can move. Cool.
And for some reason, though, something is not updating every time I've saved this multiple times. Pardon. Pause for technical difficulties. Alright. So, yeah, so you
Probably.
Go ahead.
It's probably about time for us anyway.
Looking at getting, got a few more minutes. Well, no, I think,
All right, man.
no, I think you're right. This is actually a good spot. You all can hear, what are, you are certain that they're goblins. They're hiding down here, and they've gone silent. They're aware of at least some of your allies. And Lokag, and Clifford, once you stepped up close enough to Lokag, you could hear the wrenching of a crank as somebody winds back a heavy crossbow in that door that's labeled with the pink bar. Now, Helena is likely right in between the two groups, uncertain of which one to follow, not wanting particularly to follow anybody. So probably just standing there with a slightly irritated expression on her face that you all can't really see. Arrow knocked and ready, sort of crouched down, almost herself like one of those feral goblins you saw, kneeling down, almost with her knee touching the ground, as if ready to scamper out of sight. The door nearby X and Millie, however, those sounds cease, and the room is completely silent. thinking that the potential opponent you're creeping up on is quite stealthy and very ready for something. But we'll have to find out what that is next session on Goblin Stone. Heck yeah. Thanks for an awesome session 7, gang.
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7's a good number, so I feel really good about
We
this. It was
survived.
a fun night. Yeah, you all did survive, and you got back together. You got some...
Finally got a long rest for the first time in the game.
That's right. Success.
Most hit points I've ever had this campaign.
Nice.
Hopefully that's not a curse. 17 all the way through.
DM's like, it's the most you'll ever have.
I've been reading Professor Dungeon Master and watching all of his videos. We cap at 25 hit points. No, I'm just kidding. No. But man, yeah, some good. You all got some little more insight into what is going on here a little bit. Millie and X had very important interactions with some very important people in the cosmos. Clifford and Locag had a nice swim. They saw the sights. They got to see an old friend. They got a good view on the cliffs. Yeah, absolutely. It was a great time.
Location.
Yeah. Next session. Actually, let's see here. Yeah, actually, I did miss a trick during this session, so I'm going to have to ask Locag and Cliff for a Constitution check at the bottom of the session here. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, they do get exfoliated, perhaps.
Saving throw or
Saving throw. So yeah, con save.
I ignore that +1, but it was a 7.
Okay. And then Clifford. All right.
Oh, 22, baby.
Nice.
Crit Constitution.
You all noticed that Locag's got a sort of nagging little cough this morning, and his eyes look a bit. They don't look quite right. They look kind of bloodshot, but the veins are, instead of reddish, pinkish, they're like orangish.
It's that damn flame.
He is part of the cult.
He is part of the cult.
I gotta cure you. I gotta save you, man. Come on, Locag, come back to me.
So far, he's not suffered any ill effects if he is sick. But, yeah. So yeah. Well, I enjoyed how much bonding time that split in the party gave y'all. That was really cool. Story-wise, I felt like that was really fun, kind of going back and forth. Two very different events happening. They're all like, "Oh, this is so peaceful. We're so safe," and you guys are like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! There's so many hobgoblins."
I do want to mention: did Locag actually use his inspiration this session? I don't know if
Nope,
it's,
he sure
if it's
didn't.
a place. You know, if that's a thing, he can reroll.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You can re-roll that with your
I don't
inspiration.
want to change the flavor.
If there's so much
Or
of the
like
session left, you might need
disease.
later.
I was
know,
gonna
dude,
say
absolutely.
Brian, the player, kind of loves chaos a little, so I'm gonna
Let's
leave
go.
the cough. I want to see where this
Leave it.
goes.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's do
sure,
it.
Sure.
Thank
I feel
you.
like
Yeah,
DM wrote it in, and
Yeah.
something that he needs
That's
the
good.
opportunity to flesh out,
It's okay. If it gets
flesh
worse, I'll
off,
just
depending on the disease.
Just
It gets
slop
worse.
off that useless flesh. You
if
don't
it
need
gets
it.
worse, we can lay on hands him. It's fine. We got him.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
You might have to force it
You're
on him
calling
at some
people
point.
to a cult.
You guys ever seen a goblin barbarian, Goliath?
It's more like a half slime. You become a half slime.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh man,
Oh, dear.
Helena would
Slime
not
cult.
be your friend after that. She's not going to be okay with that.
How would I wear my
Half clone,
hat?
half rat.
It's just the hair. The hair becomes ooze-like. Your hat always slides off your head.
Perfect. He's bald anyways. So... Oh no, my beard.
Nice. Ah, good times. Well, so next session will be session 8. I believe we'll have Pon Pon back with us. So I think the gang will all be here again, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, and you all will see exactly what these feral goblins have in store for you, and what else might be hidden away here that the goblins didn't find. Again, having spent a little time here, you saw where some of the priests stashed away certain things, or at least you ferreted out with your own cleverness, without even trying, probably, just over some time. So there's a few places that you might want to check, and so we'll get into that, though, next session. Before we hop out, let's go around the table real quick, and what's your highlight or lowest point for the session? What's the thing that stands out the most for you? Cliff, how about you? Nick?
Oh yeah, the whole thing was just a gas. I think it went really smooth, and I think there was a lot of interaction, and it was really great to be able to meet up with the rest of the crew so quickly and be able to get back to interacting with each other. And I like the way you played Helena. I thought it was funny.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. How about you, J Fink?
Oh yeah, like the dream sequence was very interesting, unexpected. Really enjoyed that little interaction. Getting to see a few people who are from the precursor, if you will, episodes, having them appear down in the slime, the sludge was interesting. Getting a little teaser of our potential opponents also makes me ponder their abilities. So a week's worth of pondering will be entertaining.
Heck yeah.
I have many more questions about this flame now, and a curiosity to get back here and walk into it when at a time where we're not very healthy. That's the worst that can happen.
That will certainly be interesting. I look forward to that. Heck yeah. How about you?
Comes out of the flame 11 years later.
Guys, I know how this campaign ends, and yes, it's a campaign. I've seen the fourth wall.
Well, how about you, Locator? Sorry to cut you off, Pedro.
No, you're good. I was reading Jar Jar.
The anti-kneeling thing is kind of interesting, so I think that'll be something that I can roleplay going forward. Like, I kneel for no one now.
Yeah.
So that was. I don't know if that was maybe that was the high point and the low point both for X this session. Meeting her and wanting to be penitent, and her saying none of that.
Yeah. I'm reminded of that scene from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. What are you doing now? Averting our eyes, O Lord. Well, don't. Yeah. Well, how about you, Big Bri? Any thoughts for you on the night? What's your standout moment?
I rolled a 21 on a sleight of hand with a barbarian. Just saying, I'm very unhappy with that. I'm very, very happy.
Yeah, heck
All
yeah.
for a Cliff Bar.
What would you do for a Cliff Bar?
Oh, the Dungeon Master's taking so much punishment this session, y'all.
Yeah, it's brutal. We gotta get you back for all the abuse.
That's fair. That's fair. Y'all are such good sports about this campaign.
Everybody takes 1d4 of psychic damage for all the puns. Is that
Yeah.
in real life, though?
Elf needs a sandwich and a nap now. Heck yeah. Yeah, I couldn't say what my favorite part is. This whole thing has just been really fun, and it's fun to see you all flesh out your characters, and get into exploring, like figuring out what you can do with the flame, or and just those little moments where it's like, oh, we're out here above the cliff for a moment, Cliff and Lokag sitting there on the cliff, and then finally spotting, like, oh, okay, yeah, there's some movement in there. There's a rope dangling down, you know what I mean? Like, your allies finally spying you out.
After this, we're not allowed to go to any more cliffs.
I'm the only cliff here. God damn it!
There are ledges and ravines. That's all we have in this campaign now.
We're close.
Looking up my geographical terms and polish up my game for next session.
All right, we need plateaus, we need estuaries.
That's right. That's right.
In the
Steep
background,
slopes.
You see a towering Helena. Wait, what?
No, she drank too many Giant's growth potions. All right, gang.
All the land features are just named after our characters now.
Well, if you play your cards right, several things in the town might be named after you in the future. If you all manage to navigate toward that idyllic future where this ugly stone is a beautiful, well-carved feature of the city. But there are all around it other stories that could be your future. But
And we lose control of the skies. That's not fun.
yeah, you definitely got a good warning there about some stuff coming up. Things that you can do to shore up your defenses there at the square. Okay, I keep saying I'm about to be saying I'm going, but then I keep being I like talking about this stuff. I like hanging out with y'all, and this is good stuff.
Do we have any? Because my brain is moving at a snail's painful pace tonight.
Mm-hmm.
A summary of what Millie learned with the relics would
Yeah.
very beneficial.
So there is a note that's going to be populated in Roll20 chat really soon.
Excellent.
And let me find the name of it. I think it's Myths, Rumors, and Legends of Arabelle. It's going to show up in there pretty soon. Stories and Rumors of Arabelle. It's down there in the lore and notes. It's got so it'll have it in there soon. I don't think it's all in there yet. Oh, it is. So don't look at it yet. There's too much information there, so I'll have to fix that.
I will close my eyes.
Let me just fix it real quick. But before, oh goodness. Yeah, so just don't look at it yet. Let me do one thing at a time
I
instead
have
of getting
closed
distracted.
the window.
Thank you. I appreciate it. See, I have the best players. Y'all are such good sports. I never ever even think of y'all fudging die rolls or any of that stuff. Y'all are just so awesome. Y'all want the real game, and not to cheat yourselves out of it or anybody else. So, I appreciate that. And I appreciate y'all's you being such good sports about my kind of hard attitude about certain things or certain rules or whatever. So this is great. I'm having a great time and appreciate y'all.
Yeah. We appreciate it.
Awesome.
To our fantastic viewers, I'm trying to navigate back over where I can see the right. Here we go. We appreciate y'all so much. Thanks for joining us week after week. I am. Oh, we already rated out. Perfect.
Right.
That took a long time for it to catch up, like quite a few minutes. To raid.
Yeah. All right. So that already happened. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out our